Heartwarming tale. Single dad discovering crying girl's hidden millionaire identity changes their lives forever. Mark raced down the street, his heart pounding. A devoted single dad, he had no time to spare as he dashed from the local truck depot to the diner, his two spirited kids Emma and Max waiting at home, probably bouncing off the walls with the energy only young children could muster. He wiped a bead of sweat from his brow, remembering the sweet sound of his late wife's laughter during family dinners, a melody that had kept his world together after she was gone. The quiet suburban neighborhood just outside of Chicago felt more alive now than ever, with families playing in beautiful yards and children's laughter spilling into the streets on a rare afternoon off. Mark decided to take a breath and clear his head. A trip to the local park became his sanctuary. But there he spotted a girl, Lily, seated alone on a swing, tears streaming down her cheeks like raindrops on window panes. The sight struck him like a lightning bolt. He approached slowly, shadows of worry crossing his mind. "Hey there, what has got you so down?" he asked gently. As the sun cast a warm glow around them, Lily shared her heartache. She was a newcomer at the local elementary school, weighed down by the brutal sting of bullying. Kids could be merciless, mocking her family's financial struggles. Mark listened intently, each word tearing at his own heartstrings as he recalled his struggles raising Emma and Max after losing his wife. He knelt beside Lily, took a deep breath, and offered her words of encouragement. "It's tough right now, but you're stronger than you think. Believe me." The laughter of children around them seemed to fade as they shared moments filled with empathy amidst chirping birds and the rustling leaves. Mark saw hope blossom within Lily as he spoke. He realized this little girl, despite her hardships, was made of fierce resilience. Their conversation deepened the connection, stirring not just tears but laughter too, a rarity for her in those dark days. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But just when everything seemed like it was falling into place, Mark learned the shocking truth. Lily was not just an ordinary girl. She was the daughter of a recluse millionaire, her wealth cloaked in tragedy and secrecy. The revelation shook him to his core. How could he reconcile the idea of wealth with the very real struggles they shared? As the community began to buzz with gossip, judgment loomed around him like dark clouds. Mark found himself in a heated exchange at the diner, defending Lily against whispers of her supposed worthlessness due to humble beginnings. "You don't know what she has been through," he shouted, his heart racing as he gripped the counter. The stakes grew higher as he stood for what was right, grappling with belonging and worth in a world that too often tied those to the numbers in a bank account. The final moments hung thick with tension when Lily's family unexpectedly reemerged, desperate to reclaim her. Secrets bubbled to the surface that threatened to unravel everything he fought for. Standing firm, he faced the bewildered eyes of Lily and the expectations of the community. Mark knew he had to make a decision. Would he give in or fight for their bond? Hope flickered, leaving everything else hanging in the balance, and his heart hammered as he prepared for what was to come. Mark's heart felt as if it was caught in a vice. As he stood at the diner, the weight of the moment pressed down so hard, he thought he might crumble. A swirl of reactions from the onlookers tightened around him. Some whispered in disbelief, while others nodded sympathetically, divided in their loyalties. But the look in Lily's eyes was what terrified him the most, a gaze filled with uncertainty and fear of losing yet another connection in her life. Before he could gather his thoughts, Lily's parents emerged, stepping forward with an air of authority that made Mark's blood boil. Mr. Parker stood tall, handsome in a way that reminded Mark of old movies. Beside him, Mrs. Parker looked equally polished, their appearance cementing their status and reinforcing the divide. Mark clenched his fists, a sudden rush of protectiveness welling up inside him, a primal urge to guard Lily from the hurt he sensed in this family reunion. "Lily," Mr. Parker began, his voice smooth yet commanding. "You can come home now. We've been worried sick about you." Mark could see the urgency in his eyes. mingling with hints of annoyance that they had to track her down. Lily's gaze flickered from her father to Mark and back again. She had only recently begun to find a sense of belonging. She had only just learned to feel safe with someone who understood her pain. The thought of leaving now felt like her heart was being torn in two. I don't want to go," Lily whispered, her eyes welling with tears as she took a small step back, putting physical space between herself and her parents. The diners around them watched, breaths held in anxious anticipation. Mark felt a misshapen mix of hope and dread flood his chest. "Lily, sweetie," Mrs. Parker chimed in, her voice softer but laden with urgency. "You don't understand what's best for you. We need to talk about what happened last week. The media is paying a lot of attention to us now. We need to present a united front." Something inside Mark snapped. "You haven't been there for her when it counted. You think the media and your front matter more than her feelings?" His pulse quickened as he realized the implications. He wasn't just battling for a friend, but was confronting the very real prospect of Lily being taken away, back into a world that had proven everything but kind. Just then, Emma and Max dashed into the diner, laughter spilling from their small, carefree mouths, an innocent reminder of why Mark had fought so hard since his wife's passing. A family forged in love, a bond thickened through hardship. To see that light in his children's eyes caused a spark deep within him. "We can help you, Lily," he said, conviction pouring from his voice. "You're not alone. You've got me, and you've got my kids. Whatever happens, we're in this together." Just like that, darkness began to fade from Lily's face. She took a shaky step forward. In that moment, Mark felt her strength. It was building, fueled by something more profound than money or status. It was about belonging. The tension in the diner became palpable as Mr. and Mrs. Parker exchanged looks, their expressions hardening as they processed Mark's words. "You think a couple of kids and a washed-up truck driver can substitute for family?" Mr. Parker spat, his arrogance thick in the air. But Mark would not relent. He wouldn't let this chance slip through his fingers. He stood a little taller, ready to fight for Lily, yet painfully aware of what could come next. The pressure was mounting. He could almost hear the clock ticking, each second pulling them closer to an inevitable confrontation. What would the Parkers do next? Would they try to separate him from Lily after having finally connected? As fear mingled with determination, Mark felt a stirring inside him. They were on the brink, and just when he thought everything was spiraling out of control, a loud crash reverberated through the diner, the door swung open, and an unexpected guest stepped in, changing the course of everything. The diner fell silent, all eyes shifting to the entrance. Mark's heart raced. The figure standing there was unmistakable Charlie, the local journalist, known for his sharp wit and probing questions. His camera hung around his neck, a camera lens pointing straight at them like the barrel of a gun. "Charlie?" Mark's voice came out almost incredulously. He had expected something chaotic, but not this. "What the hell are you doing?" Mr. Parker's voice dripped with irritation as he squared his shoulders, directing his attention towards the journalist. Charlie, unfazed, took a few cautious steps inside, scanning the scene with keen eyes. The air was electric, laced with tension thicker than syrup. "I was on my way to hit the story of the year," Charlie said, shrugging off the weight of the moment. He had a way of defusing pressure, but now, it seemed like he was igniting a different kind of fire. "That is, until I saw the family drama playing out in here. Couldn't resist." His words felt like a challenge, a provocation that made Mark's stomach churn. Lily's expression shifted. The uncertainty that had momentarily faded returned like a shadow lurking just behind her. Mark could feel her trembling beside him, and his hands instinctively reached for her, squeezing her shoulder lightly. "It's okay," he whispered, though he wasn't sure if he was comforting her or himself. "Charlie," Mrs. Parker hissed, her cheerful facade crumbling like an old postcard. "This isn't about you. We're having a family discussion." But Charlie wouldn't back down. "Looks more like a standoff to me," he said, his eyes narrowing as he zoomed in on Lily's face. "What is really going on, Lily?" Lily opened her mouth, hesitating. She had been under the glare of the media spotlight before, and it had only brought her pain. The last thing she wanted was to be the center of attention again. "Lily, sweetheart," Mr. Parker started again, trying to regain control, but his authoritative tone wavered. "We just want what's best for you. You know that." But Mark saw something shift in Lily. It was subtle but powerful. She straightened her spine, a spark igniting within her. What's best for me? She bit back, blinking rapidly as if shaking off a spell. Or what's best for you? Mark held his breath, hoping against hope that Lily's voice would ignite a change. I don't want to go back, she shouted, her voice cutting through the tension like a lighthouse beam in thick fog. You never cared before. I can't just go back to pretending everything is fine. Watching her stand up for herself felt like watching a flower bloom in concrete. The diner held its breath, diners frozen, forks hovering midair. A murmur swept through the crowd. The tension had shifted, and for the first time, Mark felt the seesaw of power favoring Lily. Just a moment, everyone, Charlie interjected, raising his camera. I think we should document this revelation. What do you think you're doing? Mr. Parker exploded, stepping toward Charlie. But Charlie ducked back, dodging the confrontation. Capturing the truth. People deserve to know what's really happening, don't they? Mark felt a swell of dread. Would this escalate? Would the ever-watchful media put Lily back in the limelight, dragging her further into a world she desperately wanted to escape? Wait, Lily interrupted, her voice cutting through the chaos. She turned away from the glaring eyes, focusing on Mark. If I speak, will it really make a difference? Will they hear me? Everything seemed to freeze. The weight of that question hung in the air, its implications stretching far beyond the diner walls. Mark searched her eyes, the depth of uncertainty reflected back at him. The moment of truth beckoned, but what would they uncover if she chose to open her heart? As the walls of loyalty and expectations closed in, Lily took a step forward. Mark held his breath. What had been a storm was now building to a tempest, and they were all just one word away from changing everything. Would she choose to step into the light? What would be left in the shadows? Lily's breath quickened, a wave of emotions washing over her. It was as if she stood at the edge of an abyss, her heart rattling in her chest. She glanced around the diner, searching faces, finding a mix of curiosity and concern. Mark's gaze bore into her, urging her on, but she was still terrified. I don't know what to say, she admitted, her voice trembling but stronger than before. All my life, I felt like I had to fit into everyone else's idea of who I should be. Mr. Parker opened his mouth, but the words died when Lily continued, her voice growing steadier with each breath. You've never really listened to me. You all just want to put me back into a box, like I'm some kind of prize to display. Charlie tightened his grip on his camera, excitement coursing through him. The tension in the room shifted once again as everyone leaned in, drawn by Lily's raw honesty. It was the revelation everyone secretly craved, a deep look into the fractures of a perfect family image. Rather than feeling afraid, she began to feel empowered. I'm tired of pretending, she shouted, her resolve surging like fierce waves against a rocky shore. I need to be me, not the perfect daughter you want, not the picture you have in your head. The murmurs in the diner grew louder, a ripple of realization passing through the crowd. Mark felt his heart swell. This wasn't just a moment for Lily. This was a reckoning. He could see her fears peeling away, layer by layer, exposing her true self to the world. Lily, please, Mrs. Parker urged, her voice strained. You're not being fair. We just want to protect you. Protect me? Lily echoed, her voice echoing across the diner like a warning bell. You can't protect me from myself. I have to do what feels right for me, not what's easy for you. Charlie leaned against the counter, eyes sparkling with the thrill of the unfolding drama. This is exactly what I came for. To show that real stories aren't behind closed doors, but in the light of day. He tilted his camera closer, capturing both the power and vulnerability of her moment. Can't you see? Lily pressed, glancing back at her parents. I'm not the same girl you thought you knew. I have my own dreams, my own desires. I want to be heard, not controlled. The air turned heavy again, the weight of her emotion pressing down on everyone. She took a shaky breath, her body trembling. I'm breaking free from the expectations you've set for me, and it feels terrifying, but also kind of liberating. Mark felt a surge of pride for her. She had leaped from the precipice, embracing herself. But could her family catch up? Mr. Parker shifted, clearly conflicted. Watching Lily stand her ground, Mark held his breath. Would he crumble, or would he finally understand? Silence enveloped the diner, broken only by the clinking of silverware as patrons returned to their meals, conversations buzzing again. Yet, Among the ordinary chaos, an extraordinary shift was happening. "Lily," Mr. Parker finally said, voice softer, the anger draining from his face. "I didn't realize how much pain you felt." In that moment, Mark could feel a glimmer of hope, the possibility of healing threaded through the air. It wasn't just about Lily's awakening. It was about a family possibly rediscovering connection. "Maybe," Mr. Parker continued, "maybe we can find a way to support each other. Start listening for real." Lily's eyes sparkled with cautious hope, but the battle was far from over. "I want to make things better, but I can't do it alone." As Mark watched this unfolding moment, he knew that the real challenge lay ahead. Could they transform this breakthrough into something meaningful, or would familiarity choke the promise of change once again? Mark's heart raced. The diner had become a crucible for transformation, and the threads of their lives were about to intertwine in ways that none of them anticipated. But would they have the courage to follow through? What came next would decide the future for them all, a future filled with possibilities, or another cycle of silence and regret. Would they dare to step off the edge together? Lily searched her father's gaze, her heart racing with a mixture of fear and hope. The aura in the diner hung like a thick fog, a blend of anticipation and uncertainty. "You don't have to have it all figured out right now," she said softly, as if coaxing her father to step closer to her own emotional cliff. Mr. Parker shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "I'm just shocked. I never intended to push you away," he admitted, his voice cracking slightly. "I thought I was protecting you, preparing you for the world." Lily shook her head. "But you can't prepare me for something I never asked for. I need to learn on my own, even if it means falling sometimes." The tension in the room felt electric. Across the diner, patrons paused, their forkfuls of food hovering mid-air as they sensed the gravity of the moment. Charlie, still firmly rooted at the counter, captured every flicker of emotion with his camera, determined to immortalize this volcanic eruption of family dynamics. Mrs. Parker, wide-eyed and silent, looked between her husband and daughter. She wore an expression of a tornado of feelings, love battling against fear. Finally, she inhaled deeply, searching for the right words. "What do you want, Lily? What does that look like?" The question hung, an opening that beckoned Lily to dive deeper. For a moment, the diner quieted, the clinks and chatter faded away, leaving just the trio encased in their bubble. "I want to travel, to create, to help people, things that matter to me. But I'm terrified of disappointing you." Her voice broke on the last word, and a flood of emotions surged through her, raw and honest. Seeing her fight against years of expectations touched something deep within Mr. Parker. Softening further, he replied, "You want to disappoint us by pursuing your dreams. We need to understand what they are. We need to understand you." Lily felt as if a weight had lifted, but caution still curled around her heart. "I want to show you. I want to share everything, all the parts of me that I've kept hidden." Mrs. Parker ran a hand through her hair, visibly wrestling with her emotions. "I can't say I understand all this yet, but I want to try. I really do." Her voice trembled, the vulnerability hanging thick in the air. "Let us talk. Let us make space for all those dreams, even the ones we didn't expect." Mark watched this moment unfold, his chest tightening with an overwhelming sense of kinship and resolve. Could it be possible? Could a family once tangled in expectations start to weave a new, stronger fabric of togetherness? And then, like the flick of a switch, Charlie chimed in with a bright smile. "Can we maybe turn this into a series? Document your journey. This is real, folks. No script needed." Lily shot him a glance that mixed astonishment and annoyance. "This is about my life, not a reality show." But Charlie laughed. "Exactly. It's not just for ratings. It's your truth, and it could inspire others." The idea hung in the air, brightening the darkness around them. Could sharing her story help not just her, but others too? It felt like a beacon in the fog of confusion they'd been navigating. "Maybe," Lily murmured, a smile breaking through her earlier fears. She turned back to her parents, eyes shining with determination. "If we do this, we will need honesty from each other. No more pulling punches. Support means we have to be fully present." Mr. Parker agreed, the corner of his mouth twitching into a tentative grin. "Okay, let us be present then, as a family." As laughter and conversation started to swirl back into the diner, Lily felt a flicker of light break through the heaviness, the promise of possibility. Maybe they weren't just stepping off the edge. They were starting to soar. But as she glanced quickly at Charlie, pondering whether baring her soul to the world was the right thing, another question took hold. Could she trust this new path without losing herself in the chaos of exposing her heart? A mixture of anticipation and apprehension filled her as the reality of what lay ahead began to settle in. The road to transformation had only just begun, and it promised to be anything but straightforward. Would they truly navigate through this together, or would old wounds resurface, threatening their fragile bond? The clamor of the diner slowly returned, but Lily could still feel the weight of the moment hanging in the air. It was as if everyone around them was holding their breath, waiting to see how the story would unfold. "You know, for this to work, we really must dig deeper," Mrs. Parker said, her brow furrowed in thought. "Lily, what do you need from us?" Lily shifted in her seat, feeling a lump rise in her throat. This was the question she had been avoiding. I need you to trust me," she whispered, "and to believe in my choices even if they seem crazy. To not just look at the surface." Mr. Parker leaned in, his voice a low murmur. "So, we take this journey together? You want to use your wake-up call as an excuse to distance us, but rather to pull us closer?" Her heart soared at the thought of not just surviving this, but thriving in it. "Yes, but it won't be easy," she warned, gazing at Charlie, who was bouncing in his seat, his excitement palpable. "Maybe that's the point," he said, grinning. "This could be your reality show, a wild ride full of ups and downs, just like life." The thought of the cameras added another layer of urgency to their discussion. What if her parents' vulnerability was caught on film, shared with strangers? But then again, what if sharing their raw truths was just the thing that brought them together? "Do you think we should take a risk on this?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Parker nodded slowly. "It's worth a shot. As long as we commit to being real. We can't hide like we have in the past." Lily felt the weight of that statement. This wasn't just about her. It meant her parents had to open up too, and the thought both thrilled and terrified her. "But what happens when things get tough?" Mr. Parker interjected. "When we face the issues we've hidden from. That's when we come together," Charlie replied, his enthusiasm infectious. "You don't have to face it alone, and neither do you, Mr. Parker. You'll have each other." "So when will we start?" Mrs. Parker asked, her tone brimming with cautious optimism. "Right now," Charlie declared, snapping his camera towards Lily. "Let us capture this moment, the dawning of something beautiful." Lily caught Charlie's energy and felt herself smile, the weight of apprehension lifting just a little. She could do this. They could do this. "All right, but let us be clear," Lily said, her eyes locking onto her father's. "This won't be a bed of roses. It will hurt sometimes. We'll have disagreements, potentially scary ones. Then we'll embrace the discomfort," Mr. Parker said resolutely. "This is what family means. Being there through it all, no matter what." Suddenly, the diner, filled with warm light and laughter, felt like a sanctuary rather than a battleground. As Charlie raised his camera to snap a candid shot, Lily leaned into her parents, their shoulders touching, grounding her in that moment. But even as warmth enveloped her, a flutter of dread danced in her stomach. What kind of family history would they unearth? Could the love they were crafting withstand the storm of buried secrets? As Charlie caught the click of the camera, a hush fell momentarily over the diner. An unspoken truth hung in the air, one that hinted at both hope and uncertainty. Would they be able to handle whatever came next, or would they discover that the past had a tight grip on their futures, threatening to unravel everything they were starting to build? Lily's breath caught. This was just the beginning, and she wasn't sure if the next chapter would be a beautiful masterpiece or a catastrophic failure. But somehow, she had to find the courage to plunge ahead. The camera flashed, capturing the fleeting moment of intimacy that Lily felt with her parents. Charlie, eyes sparkling with excitement, glanced at the digital screen, a triumphant smile spreading across his face. "This is going to be epic," he exclaimed, oblivious to the shadows fluttering just beneath the surface of their togetherness. "But what do we do now?" Mrs. Parker asked, still holding her coffee cup in both hands, her grip tightening slightly. "Should we talk about everything right here?" Lily chewed on her lip, feeling the rush of possibilities. "Maybe we start with something small. What was the last big secret we hid?" That question hung in the air, a gentle nudge toward vulnerability. Mr. Parker shifted in his chair, brow furrowed. Weavy avoided talking about Grandma. His voice trailed off, eyes drifting towards the bustling diner, as if searching for an escape in the laughter and clanking dishes around them. Yeah, but we can't. We have to face it, Lily said, her heart thumping loudly. I mean, she's part of our history. And if we ignore it, it'll always loom over us. The uneasy weight of unspoken memories soaked into her words. Maybe we can share funny stories, Charlie suggested, his energy unwavering. That'll lighten the mood a bit, right? Mrs. Parker smiled at Charlie, thankful for the gentler approach. I suppose we could start there. Like the time your dad nearly set the kitchen on fire trying to make pancakes. A quiet chuckle broke through Lily's tension. Her dad threw an exaggerated grin at his wife, a fun recollection sparking between them. They were leaning into the laughter, but behind it lay the unhealed wounds of their shared history. I remember that day vividly, Mr. Parker said, shaking his head. Never have I seen so much batter flying, and I still don't understand how it turned out so crunchy. Laughter rippled around the table, and Lily joined in, grateful for this shared moment as it soothed her frayed edges. But when the laughter dwindled, shadows fell over the table again. Lily took a deep breath. So what about the tears? The feelings we ran from? She dared to push deeper. What do we do when that comes up? It doesn't disappear just because we're smiling. The air thickened. She can almost feel the tension tightening like a spring. Mr. Parker exchanged glances with Charlie and then looked at Mrs. Parker, who blinked back, emotion, the struggle of reconciling joy and pain evident in her eyes. I think we might need to break some rules we set for ourselves, Mrs. Parker finally said, her voice low yet firm. No more glossing over the hard stuff. We have to be honest and willing to feel uncomfortable. As those words settled, Lily felt a small surge of hope. They were making space for the painful moments, a sign they were more committed to this journey than she expected. Together, just as she allowed the warmth of that thought to sink in, the door swung open, a gust of chilly air sweeping through the diner. In walked a stranger, someone Lily didn't recognize. He scanned the room, eyes lingering on her family. A distinct shift in energy sparked, the newcomer's presence causing the conversations around them to fade away. Who is that? Lily whispered, her heart quickening. Something about his gaze felt piercing, searching, almost as if he could see the layers of their unspoken stories unraveling. Not sure, Charlie muttered, glancing nervously at the stranger. But it looks like he's here for a reason. The diner buzzed, but Lily's focus narrowed onto that unwelcome figure. What if he knows something? She gasped, an unsettling mix of anxiety and curiosity flooding her mind. Suddenly, the adventure of revealing their truths took on a new urgency. What secrets did this stranger hold that could change everything? The stranger took a few hesitant steps inside, the bell above the door jingling softly, as if announcing something significant. His dark clothing contrasted sharply with the bright colors of the diner's interior. For a moment, time seemed to pause, and Lily felt the world around her fade into a dull hum. She studied the man, noting the way his expression shifted, as if he was weighing the importance of his next move. Do you think he is here for us? Lily whispered again, urgency filling her voice. She could feel her pulse echoing in her ears. He seems intense. He might be lost, Charlie offered, though uncertainty laced his tone. But I don't know. Mr. Parker's protective instincts kicked in. He leaned forward slightly, ready to act. Let us just keep calm, all right? This could be nothing at all. Surrounded by her family, Lily tried to shake off the creeping dread. While the laughter for moments before still echoed softly in her mind, the atmosphere had shifted. The chatter in the diner resumed, but it felt distant, muffled by the brewing tension at their table. The stranger finally approached their booth, his demeanor strikingly confident. Excuse me, he said, his voice deep but soothing. I couldn't help but notice you. I might need your help. The way he said, help, sparked a flicker of concern in Lily. Was it possible he wanted something they couldn't give? Her family held each other in shared uncertainty, and she sensed the scene was unfolding into something greater. What do you need help with? Mrs. Parker asked, her voice smooth despite the tension rolling off her. He glanced around, ensuring no one else was listening, and then leaned in slightly. You're Miss Lily Parker, aren't you? Lily felt a recalibrating jolt run through her. Yes, she replied, cautious. Do I know you? I'm not. He hesitated, choosing his next words carefully. I'm not an old friend. I'm someone who has information about your grandmother. A wave of emotions crashed into her. Grandma, the locus of their unspoken sorrows and joys. What about her? The man's gaze softened, but the gravity of his words pressed against her chest. I know it's a lot to take in, but the past you think you understand, there are layers. You need to hear this. Lily's heart raced. This was at the moment she had yearned for and feared all at once. Before she could respond, Charlie blurted out, What do you mean? Is she okay? Where is she? The stranger raised a hand to calm them. I can't explain everything right now. The details are complicated, but I can promise that she is alive. The revelation sent shockwaves through the table. Alive. Grandma was alive. Lily felt her breath hitch, a whirlwind of thoughts spiraling through her. How was that even possible? They had mourned. They had moved through the grief. Yet here was this stranger, claiming to have the key to a truth long buried. Wait a minute, Mr. Parker interjected. If you're here to share this information, you have to understand how serious this is. We need proof. The man nodded solemnly, but with determination. I have what you seek. But first, we need to talk somewhere quieter. Lily exchanged glances with her family, the weight of their shared history hanging heavily in the air. The promise of what could be unlocked seemed too precious to ignore. It was a door half closed, a mystery wrapped in fond memories and lost time. Oh my God, should we? Lily started, her voice trembling. The choice lay ahead of them like a fork in the road, and she could feel the pull of destiny weaving its way through their lives. Just then, a sudden clatter startled the diner, and Lily's heart raced again. What if they walked away from this, from the answers? Are you ready? The stranger asked, his gaze steady and inviting. What happens next could change everything. And as they deliberated their next step, uncertainty loomed large, leaving them poised at the edge of a revelation brimming with potential, a truth they had never anticipated. The atmosphere felt electric, like static before a storm. Lily stared at the stranger, her breath caught in her throat. The promise of her grandmother being alive sent her heart into a chaotic rhythm. But fear clung to her like a shadow. What if this was a trap? Charlie leaned in, his brows furrowed. Isn't it risky to trust him? We don't know anything about enough. Mr. Parker's voice sliced through the tension. We've lived in doubt for too long. If there's a chance she's out there, we owe it to ourselves to find out. The table fell silent, each of them feeling the weight of their parents' choice to protect them from the pain of loss. Now, they had a chance to reclaim what they thought was gone forever. Lily swallowed hard, her heart pounding as if it wanted to leap from her chest. Where do you want to take us? She tried to sound steady, but her voice quivered. Just to a quieter spot, the stranger replied, glancing towards the diner door. There's too many years here. He turned, leaving them little choice but to follow. Charlie sent a worried glance to Lily, squeezing her hand. She felt an odd mix of comfort and anxiety in the gesture, a reminder that whatever awaited them ahead, they faced it together. They shuffled out, following him outside where the neon lights of the diner flickered in the dusk. The night air wrapped around them, cool and bracing, but Lily's heart was too hot with anticipation. The stranger led them down an alley, away from the bustling street, to a small park at the end, dimly lit yet peaceful. He finally paused, turned, and locked eyes with Lily. Before I tell you, you should understand something about your grandmother, he began, taking a steadying breath. What is it? Lily asked, her voice trembling slightly. This felt like a moment that held all their past, and she could see her family tightening into a unit, ready to catch any falling pieces. She had secrets, dangerous ones. She went into hiding to protect herself and you. It was never just a simple choice. His eyes flickered with a mix of regret and urgency. To understand what happens next, you'll have to accept that her life isn't what you thought. Lily felt the ground shift under her. What do you mean? How could she have chosen this? We thought her voice cracked, the weight of loss combined with a new, disorienting reality. I know it feels like she abandoned you, the stranger said softly, but she did it to keep you all safe. There were things she couldn't tell you. Things from the past that would haunt you if they ever came to light. Just tell us what we need to know. Charlie blurted out. His frustration echoed around them, sharp and demanding. The stranger took a step forward, leaning in closer. The truth is, your grandmother is involved in something larger than you can imagine. She's at the center of a conflict that could change everything, not just for her, but for you too. The people looking for her aren't just interested in a family reunion. Lily's pulse quickened. What people? He exhaled slowly, seeming to weigh the gravity of each word. People who want to erase her past, and anyone connected to it. Fear unfurled in Lily's stomach, cold and sharp. This wasn't just about reunions, it was a life or death situation. You need to decide how much you're willing to let this unravel. If you want to find her, you'll need to dive into the chaos she's running from. Mr. Parker's protective instincts flared again. Wait a minute, no? If we're going to do this, we need to know everything. Lily interjected, her voice stronger. The stranger nodded, respect flashing in his eyes. Then gather your courage. The path ahead is uncertain, but it will change the course of your lives forever. Suddenly, the night felt oppressive, each second thicker with the promise of revelation. A choice loomed before them, but the stakes had never been higher. Could they face the specter of their grandmother's truth? What if we can't handle it? Charlie whispered, fear creeping into his voice. You're going to have to. The stranger's eyes held a fire that gave Lily a twinge of hope amidst the chaos. As they stood there, the world seemed to tremble with possibilities real and dangerous. Her family caught between past grief and a future filled with questions. We'll do it, Lily finally said, her breath steady now. But we need to know everything. The stranger smiled, a flicker of gratitude mixed with admiration. And in that moment of resolution, Lily felt an unmistakable shift. The first step into a labyrinth of secrets had begun, and she would be ready to face it all. But as they turned to walk back toward the diner, a strange noise echoed from the shadows behind them. Wait, what was that? Charlie asked, eyes widening. Lily felt a chill race down her spine. The night was far from over, and the truth they sought was about to become even more complicated. With the night thickening around them, Lily felt an undercurrent of urgency tugging at her heart. This was not just about her grandmother anymore. It was about their family's future and survival. They approached the diner, the familiar neon lights flickering like beacons, casting long shadows on the pavement. Mark sensed the tension among the group as they gathered their courage. Do you think we're ready for whatever this truth holds? He asked, glancing at Lily, whose face was a canvas of determination mixed with fear. I have to be, she whispered back, felt the weight of their shared histories weighing on her small shoulders. The stranger led them a little farther away from the diner's light, choosing a bench in the park where faint laughter floated in the air, unaware of the storm brewing just under the surface. Are you sure about this? He asked them once more, his voice low but steady. He was gauging their resolve as if he were handing them a fragile crystal ball that could shatter at any moment. We're ready to learn. Lily spoke firmly, though her heart raced in her chest. The stranger nodded. Then listen closely. He took a deep breath. Your grandmother was once involved in a world connected to her family's legacy, one that had powerful enemies and even darker secrets. As he spoke, the truth began to unfurl, revealing a tapestry woven with threads of danger, betrayal, and love. He explained how her grandmother had been a guardian of a hidden fortune, passed down through generations, and how an old rivalry had forced her to vanish, to protect not just her wealth, but also her family from threats that still lurked in the shadows. Why did she never come back? Lily's voice was quiet, breaking the gentle night air that surrounded them. Why leave us? The stranger's expression softened. She thought leaving would keep you safe. But it haunted her, the separation. There were people after her, but she was also protecting you from knowing the entire truth too soon. Mark listened, a storm of conflicted emotions brewing inside him. He remembered how fiercely he had coddled his children after losing their mother, a protective impulse stemming from his own trauma. So she's alive, and we can bring her back? Though desperate hope lit up in his chest, it felt like it belonged to someone else's story. Only if you're willing to face the chaos, the stranger replied, tone grave. Your lives as you know them might change forever, facing an enemy you can't yet see. But this time, instead of shying away, Lily felt her family's hands unite around her. We'll take that risk. Together, she said, feeling a surge of strength from everyone around her. Charlie interjected, but how do we find her? By standing at the edge of her past, at the place she could no longer go back to. The man instructed, his eyes narrowing with resolve. You need to gather clues, pursue leads, and follow the unseen threads of connection. The first step is courage. The second is unity. The walls of doubt began to crumble for Mark, Emma, and Max, gathering under their common goal. Their individual fears faded when they clung to one another. Watching them, the stranger offered a flicker of a smile. It was clear he had been waiting for this moment. With renewed purpose, they turned back towards the diner, the warmth and laughter once again drawing them like moths to a flame. Mark looked at Lily, a resolute gleam in his eye. No matter what happens, we face it together. We're family, and family doesn't back down. A tear of gratitude glistened on Lily's cheek. "Thank you," she murmured, voice full of emotion, "for believing in me, in us." As they approached, the urgency of their mission sparked a communal bond, a team united in love, forged in adversity. They were determined to venture into the unknown, face every fear, and dig into the dirt of their family's history, even if it meant unearthing ghosts best left buried. And as they crossed the threshold back into the diner, laughter and muted conversations merging with a more profound sense of purpose, they didn't just feel the warmth of simple joy. They felt the electricity of change igniting. This was their moment. They were not just finding Lily's grandmother. They were reclaiming their story, their identity, and with it, they embraced the uncertainty ahead. They were ready to rise, to fight, and to transform, not just for Lily but for themselves. This was the light at the end of the tunnel, a beacon of hope pushing them forward. With that resolve, they took their first steps into the chaos together, hearts full of determination. Because some journeys are worth embarking on, no matter how treacherous the path. Are you ready for your own journey? Don't wait. Subscribe immediately to follow more exclusive stories that inspire and thrill. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now and help spread the word. I want to hear your thoughts. Comment what you felt about the ending, and don't hesitate, share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to share this. Let's build this community, one story at a time.